that is always going to work to the benefit of our team. And that's what it is. I think, like you said, the common fan will say there's no mid-range in the NBA anymore. It's just fast breaks, layups, threes, and free throws.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely not true.
LeBron James just sat down with Steve Nash and gave Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the reigning MVP, some serious respect, calling him one of the greatest mid-range shooters of all time. In this podcast called Mind the Game, LeBron James dives into what makes SGA's mid-range so deadly and why LeBron says it's a lost art that this man has mastered.
For anyone who thinks there's too many threes, I'd like to know your take on this. That's never going away. And it's not because we don't take mid-ranges anymore. Like, think about it. Luka, Shai is going to have the best mid-range year of ever in the NBA. Something like 60% on like 15 mid-range shots a game. Like, this is likely MVP, if not number 2 MVP race, having an unbelievable season. And he is shooting more mid-range shots than anyone else. But the key is, like Giannis, who's picked up his mid-range game. Jokic, elite from the mid-range. KD, Luka, whoever these guys are, top players. What they are not doing is stopping driving the ball to the basket. So Shai still an elite, maybe the leader in drives, right? Same when push comes to shove, Luka, Jokic, trying to get to the rim.
Correct.
So it's not, I'm going to settle for mid-range shots. These are elite players taking the ball to the basket, taking threes, but the defense also is going to say, we can't let him get in there. What do you do now? So that's where these mid-range shots are never more valuable from your creators.
No, for sure. And the one thing about the creators, we're going to hit all 3 levels. And in order to be able to hit all 3 levels, it gives your teammates even more opportunities to do what they are out there to do. By either extending the defense to the 3-point. Okay, we're not going to, you're shooting 10 or 12 threes a game. Well, now we're going to extend our defense. We're not going to allow you to shoot the threes. But we're also going to protect the rim. But the creators in our game have always worked on mid-ranges, either if it's mid-range pull-ups, mid-range floaters, turning drives into back downs, to be in the mid-range. Like, for me, in
even
particular,
mid-range post-ups.
Even mid-range post-ups. You're getting a lot of guys in, your former teammate Dirk mastered the nail ISO, and at the time when Dirk was in his prime and doing his thing, it was, I can get all the way to the rim. I can back you down from here, or I can face you up and shoot no dribbles, use all my footwork, use all my pivots, and I'm gonna keep the defense so at bay and off balance that it's always gonna work to the benefit of our team. And that's what it is. I think, like you said, the common fan will say there's no mid-range in the NBA anymore. It's just fast breaks, layups, threes, and free throws.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely not true.
It's not true, and I think it's just important. And maybe this is something that a lot of people are like, that's obvious. But I think a lot of fans, it swings one way, no more mid-range shots. Like, where would the Knicks be without Jalen Brunson in the mid-range? Where would Oklahoma City be? Like, that's the solve. That's the solve for people taking away the rim, taking away the threes. I think there's some numbers on Shai where he's elite in pick and roll. The number drops precipitously when they double him. So, but think about this. They're playing 4-on-3 now. They have a great team, right? They have a great team. They have guys that can put the ball on the floor, pass, shoot, make plays. Maybe this is largely when Jalen Williams is off the floor, but when he gets doubled, they go from to 1 point per possession from elite, right, or below 1 point per possession. So it shows that should lead to threes and layups when you're playing 4-on-3.
Yeah, for sure.
So his ability to exploit that space in the middle and still be elite is based on the fact that he is a 3-level scorer, like you said, and that without that, they're not efficient.
They're not the number 1 team in the West.
Could you imagine, when I coached, I would have loved KD to take 8, 10, 12 threes a game. And he's capable, just rising up over people. But he gets so much rhythm and confidence from the mid-range, and he's such an assassin in there. Like, it's a big change that you're probably not always going to net out on the positive, right? And you can say that about a lot of guys in our league, that top players, that they know hard dribble, feet set, up in the air. When you get that one to go, every other shot
their rhythm.
is there, right?
It's their rhythm. It's their rhythm. You can't take away the guys' rhythm because the numbers speak for the masses.
Right.
It just can't happen. You know, it just can't happen. And to go back to the first point, the first question as far as the defense, like, you have to be able to live with something.
Yes.
You know, but definitely it takes
Discipline.
It takes a lot of discipline. Like when you go into a game and say, okay, we want to give up contested twos. Like, if we give up contested twos and they make contested twos, then you tip your hat to them, and you know. But it's just certain guys that are literally assassins at contested twos. Shai being one of them, DeMar DeRozan being one of them, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving.
Yep.
These guys are.
Those are layups.
They'd much rather you contest than not contest.
Right.
It's literally their rhythm.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a challenge for you know, a player when you're guarding these guys and you say, shit, I just made him take a contested two, and he keeps making it.
Yep.
And you have to realize, you're like, I'm not making him take contested twos.
Yeah, right.
This is what he wants to do.
Right.
And you just gotta hope he missed. And you hope that you hope that it wears. You hope that it wears over time, you know, to where, you know, fourth quarter come around, maybe because you've been doing things offensively, maybe putting them in actions, you know, maybe, you know, being a little physical with them up and down the court, and you hope that towards the fourth quarter, maybe that contested two that was going through the first three quarters maybe becomes a little short. So it's definitely a mind fuck for you, you know, as a defender.
And then also, at the end of games, you know, the analytics, you know, in many scenarios becomes less important.
Yeah.
Points are points. Points are
Get a
points at the end
bucket.
of games, right? Like, we're talking 2, 3, 4 minutes left. You don't have the opportunity to always pick and choose your shot profile.
No, you do not.
Right? Especially when the responsibility is on your shoulders to carry this team home. If you're finding space in the mid-range, which obviously teams are going to try to run you off the line. Teams are going to try to pack the paint at the rim. They're also going to try to spray out be on a string if you fire it out. So sometimes you as the lead guy, you have to have the confidence to stop, pull up, and make those shots, because a bucket is a bucket when you get down the stretch. So
absolutely.
It's a very nuanced conversation.
So when LeBron James and Steve Nash both say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of the best mid-range shooters ever, you know it means something. He's not just scoring. He's doing it in a way that most players today don't. What do you think? Is SGA the best in the mid-range right now? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.